we're having a great week this week with lots of fun stories for all the family. And here's one for students on today's Not So Critical Update.
If by great week you mean disastrous week, and by fun stories you mean stories about the government tracking us or using, it's just terrible.
Yep, that is what I mean. Yeah,
that's what you meant. Okay, good. As long as we're on the same page. So this time, we started out talking about, and this wasn't the government tracking people. We started out the week talking about Planned Parenthood, people tracking geolocation of people who were at Planned Parenthood, where they came from, how long they were there, and where they went afterwards. We talked about the CDC buying tracking data to figure out where people live, what churches they go to, what schools they go to, what restaurants they eat at to measure compliance. Here, we're looking at Facebook tracking code found on studentaid.gov, which is the site that college students go to fill out their financial aid forms.
Yeah.
And I can't even think of a reason why somebody, why would you do this? Are they running retargeting ads to some, I'm all for tracking on targeted ads. I get it, but why?
I started off, was really enjoying beating up on you, Mike, because it was kind of fun for a little bit, but I'm starting to feel sorry for you because I'm going to have to point out now that it's people like you, which have caused this in the problem in the first place. The reason this exists is because there's this, let's suck up as much data as we possibly can. These data vampires. Let's get everything all the time on every network. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Let's throw moral considerations out the window. And if we ever think about anything.
And when does the attack start? To so far, you're just describing my job. What's the downside here of what you're trying to say?
That's to answer your question. Why would anyone do this? Because let's just let's get everything.
Sure. You know what I mean? So Google Analytics absolutely should be on that page. I definitely need to know how many people are hitting the site, how long they're spending on the page, where they're going. 100% on board with that. But why do I need Facebook tracking on this page? Am I going to retarget these students?
To students.
The student ads. That's what. Yeah. What do you think Google Analytics is used for? Other than, do you think it's just used for analytics? It's just Google, oh yeah, hey, here's all the traffic on the whole internet. Yeah. We're just gonna use it to show how popular pages are, where people are coming from. Yeah.
Well, I can use it to track ads. Remember Urchin or Urchin? How do they that was the package that was Urchin, bought by Google to start analytics? What
UTM stands for Urchin
tracking module. Yeah, I know. I love that. Was such great software, and you would run it against your server logs. It was amazing.
Do you know? I've never met anybody who actually used Urchin until now. You are old, man. Jesus, you've been doing this a long time.
Wow.
When it was so great because you were just running it off your own server logs. You didn't have to share that data with anyone, and then Google bought them, and you just did it all through their servers.
Yeah,
through their servers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Mike, how do you feel about this? Facebook in particular, tracking, students, financial information.
Hard at Mike today.
This is a rough week. This is a hard week for us trackers.
Yeah.
Us privacy violators struggling this week. Man.
It's
I think it does just come down to capturing as much information as possible without thinking about what you're doing with it. Like I said, I would definitely put tracking widgets on there. I would put Google Analytics on there for sure. I just don't see here's what I think about Facebook tracking in this context, right? As a marketer, I want to get traffic to my site, and I get higher Google search rankings if the site performs better, and the Facebook widget being on the site could make the site perform worse. So if I don't need it, I'm going to take it off the site so I have better page performance, Google Page Speed Insights.
Well, they're getting paid. Obviously, Facebook paid to place their, I imagine it's a pixel.
Is that true?
Something.
Facebook paid to get it on
Yeah.
this page?
Well, why else would the United States government place it on there? You said it was on a student.gov, right?
I think it was probably my guess would have been it was part of an SDK or some login authentication stuff. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe that's true. Or maybe it's just code that Facebook owns that's open source that's being used. Open source.
Could you use it for single sign-on?
Maybe, yeah. There's still
Maybe.
these social login things, aren't there?
Yeah.
I would be really surprised if Facebook was paying to get the tracking pixel on the site. I can't imagine it gets
Why?
that much traffic that it would be worth it for Google to buy it.
Wait, imagine the amount of traffic this page gets. How many people are in debt to the US government for school?
It's an ad tracking pixel. So the meta pixel consists of JavaScript code publishers add to their web pages for tracking ad conversions, usage analytics, and other data collection.
Right.
It's
So,
found
like,
on
when that
30%
user-
of the top 100,000 sites.
So when that user goes to Instagram, they're going to get an ad on getting a private loan to pay off the US government because it'll make them feel better or something.
That could be true, but why? I don't understand why the government side of it.
To make money.
I think what happened was that the government were running ads for student aid on Facebook. So they put the pixel on the student aid site to track who came there from Facebook.
Yeah.
And then link it back
to that so that they could row in more students to take more loans.
Which then opens the door for the students who visited that page or who Facebook now knows are interested in student loans to get targeted, like John said, by the
private companies.
Companies.
Yeah, 100%. That data exists now. That data exists and it's not going to be deleted. It's too far. There was another interesting story. I don't know if we talked about it this week or last week, but it was about how Facebook, their data flows are so complicated that they don't know themselves exactly where data points go through. Like if you ask to delete, I don't know. The one was the example they gave was user has moved hometown, I think it was. And the number of steps involved in figuring out whether that was a true or a false was so complicated that Facebook couldn't say reliably that it had removed every way of that could be calculated. Yeah. So now that this data has been recorded for the student going to the student aid side from an ad or not or whatever, it's now linked to them forever. So
and having the data is problematic, I guess, whatever. But this, I think something similar comes up.
I want that to be a meme, please. I'm not really a big meme problematic. Yeah. I think I could throw that out in like so many occasions.
You know what's crazy? I just realized how many leakers has Facebook had? 5, 6, 10, 20?
Who knows?
And I cannot think back on a single leaker for Google.
I think maybe that.
Does anyone come to mind?
No,
I can think of.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Google has these same kinds of controversies, which is shocking because their social platform that was such a dominant competitor.
Social platform.
I don't even remember what it was called.
I think the difference is that Google don't sell the data; they just sell that ad. They have the ad platform, and Facebook actually share the data with people like Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But Google does some targeting, but a lot of their ads are search based.
Some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a fun thought for me to think about because like Apple's had a couple of big leakers. Like Microsoft's had some huge leaks, but like Facebook's definitely king of that hill.
Yeah, true. They are terrible, aren't they?
Yeah, Google just doesn't get involved in those kinds of things. So I did want to say. One of the discussions I heard around the idea of open sourcing the algorithm, which Elon Musk brought up around the Twitter purchase, is that it's going to be essentially and we talked about this last week, I think, that it's going to be really difficult to look at a machine learning algorithm without any of the data to understand what it's actually doing.
Wait, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Where are you tying this into?
Well, you brought up the idea of how they have the data and how they're using it, and that there's no transparency, how the algorithms work.
Yeah,
I
they
think we
can't
have
pick it apart. They're just going to have to
see.
delete the whole model, basically, is the idea for an AI or for machine learning. They'll have to delete
Right.
the brain.
Right,
They can't pick out individual neurons and say,
It's a
okay, it's fine
monster
now.
of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think we've got another story about. Do we have a story about
We've got
algorithms coming up?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
We've got the traditional sign-off for Facebook stories, though.
Yeah, fuck
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, 100%. Fuck them. Yeah, right. Yeah, right up the, whoop, yep.
Just like get that little extra bit in, John.